Hi everybody, welcome back. This is lesson 2. It's the third video in our series here, but lesson 2, and we are talking about how to recognize good vocal tone, which is really important if you want to master pure bel canto. And David Moyer is joining us. Thank you, David.
Hi, Sunny.
Okay, so David, let's talk about the qualities of good vocal tone. You said there's 3 qualities. Go through that with us a
Well,
little
Mr. Moore, when he was training me back in 1967, he said, David, there are 3 qualities that make a voice sound good, that make good vocal production, and they are: the sound rings in your ears, it pings in your head, and it buzzes in your mask.
Okay.
Well, that's easy to say, but it's kind of hard to understand.
Right. Let's break that down for everybody. So you said rings in your ears. Tell us about that.
That's what I said, too. What's ringing in the ears? He said, well, David, have you ever heard a bell? Different sizes of bells that you can hold in your hand. Have you ever heard bell players like a bell choir? Well, you listen for that kind of thing inside your head. That's what your ears are going to hear. Now, why does that happen, though? Well, quite honestly, I'll tell you about that in a minute. So you listen for ringing in the ears, and the pinging in the head, you listen for literally, I say like high dolphin squeaks, or like very, very high pitch. Have you ever been quiet and you hear a high ringing in your ears when it's quiet at night? I hear that sometimes. Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, it reminds me of tinnitus or
It's a high frequency.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of what you listen for. And then number 3, the buzzing in the mask is literally you feel a buzzing in the front of your face. That's what we call the mask. Now, why do those things occur? Well, quite honestly, God has designed into each head 46 caves of different size. And when you make a sound, that's what's called a frequency length. Each sound has a frequency length. The lower sounds, of course, have longer frequency lengths. As you go higher, they have shorter frequency lengths. And in a given pitch, there isn't just one sound. That's why sometimes when people audition for choirs and you have a kind of an uneducated teacher who's taken music as a major and a vocal major, they'll say, you can't sing. They try you out and you hit the wrong pitches and they say, you're not a singer. Thanks for, you do football or whatever's your interest. We'll see you later. Well, the truth of the matter is I and my wife, both my wife and I, have worked for over 35 years proving most of that theory wrong. And the reason it's wrong is because in every given pitch, the human ear can actually hear up to, or more, depending on the ear, how good it is in quality, up to 4 other pitches that actually sound when the fundamental pitch is ringing. For example, if I sing, ah, there's actually what we would call the same pitch up 8 notes, and then there's above it a third above that, a fifth above that, and whatever the ear can hear above that. So what happens when people sing and they're auditioning and they hit the wrong notes? Like if I say, can you sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? And I'm auditioning you for the choir and they go, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Well, what I do immediately is I say, let's do an exam. I'd like to test your ear, and I'll give 10 different pitches. I have a man right now, Todd Bashore, who started to study with me, and he won't mind. He's a speech major. He never sang all his life, didn't think he had much of an ear, but he studied with me for 6 weeks, and he's found out that he can actually hear those pitches and transfer them down, and now he's actually singing most of Michael Bublé's, one of his first releases, I'll Never Smile Again, and he's actually singing it in tune.
Wow. Okay.
So why can we hear these things? Because the different lengths of the harmonics, that's what they're called, those upper pitches above the fundamental, actually vibrate in the mask. They vibrate in the ears or ring in the ears. We call it vibrate, but it's a ringing manifestation and a vibration or pinging in the head.
Do you need all 3 of those in order for it to be pure bel canto?
Yes.
You do.
There are varying degrees or percentages of ring, ping, and buzz depending on the pitch and depending on the pitch and depending on the vowel sound.
Okay. And can you get this with all forms of music, all different types of genres?
Well, Bel Canto, or pure Bel Canto, as I call it, because it's changed so much over the years. It was originally Bel Canto, as we've talked about in the past. But the truth is that I've sung many different genres. And pure Bel Canto is what you learn to do. And then when you approach a genre, you intellectually think of the style you want, and then you adapt the Bel Canto. For example, I was trained as an opera singer. So when I sing, "Oh, del mio amato ben," right? Now that's opera, and remember, my voice has been damaged, so it's not as clear as a pure opera singer would be, a good opera singer who sings Bel Canto. But now I'm going to take the same technique, and I'm going to sing Willie Nelson's On the Road Again. And I'm going to use as much Bel Canto as I can. And I'll bet you dollars to donuts, it's going to sound like Willie Nelson, or at least like a country singer. Ready? On the road again. I just can't wait to get on that road again. The life of love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again. Does that sound a little bit country?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
And you got a little twang there, too.
Yeah, I did twang on purpose to give it that hard country
That's
sound.
right.
Well, and I used to sing country, and yes, there's varying degrees of it, like with twang, and then there's progressive country, which sounds kind of something between rock. And yeah, if you do rock, you have to be very careful, because rock was designed from an extremely compressed sound. People didn't study Bel Canto. They just shoved the sound out. Like I used to do it. I'd be in a rock band. And I was in one when I was 14. When I come home, I was hoarse. Mom would say, "Why are you hoarse?" I say, "I don't know, Mom. I'm singing Jimi Hendrix." But I would go, "Purple haze running in my brain. Excuse me, what a kiss the sky." And you know, if you're a rock singer, you do produce some of those sounds. When I did Neil Diamond, it would be like, "Where it begins." You hear the forced? "I can't begin to knowin'." You have to do a forced sound. But do you use some Bel Canto? Not a lot. That's why you have to be very careful when you sing rock and hard country and today's Broadway, because they don't use correct production.
It's amazing that Broadway wouldn't use it, because they're singing all the time, right? And they're performing 8, 9, whatever shows a week. You would think they would want to preserve
Well,
it.
they would, but they don't know. The coaches, and I'd be glad to talk to any of the professional coaches teaching Broadway today, because honestly, I might know as much as you know, and maybe even a little more to help your singer. I'm just a fellow who's tried to learn how to help folks save their voice. So, in original Broadway, they did sing Bel Canto. It was opera back then, and then the operettas. But as the stages became bigger, as we've talked, the coaches decided, well, to hear better, to be heard better, just pull back on your bands. So they did. You know, instead of, "ah," they went, "ah," and then, "ah," and finally they did, "There's a bright golden haze on the meadow, there's a bright," and that's completely forced without going into real hard rock or screamo. That's my voice. Really dislikes that, and I actually have a burning pain that's manifesting itself right now in my left ear, and my bands even feel achy a little bit because I did that. Now, there is a group that I just remembered that sings pretty well. Listen to the Stray Cats.
Oh, okay.
They did some more like Elvis's early 50s.
They're like from the 80s, I think.
Yeah, but they did kind of a neo throwback to the Elvis style of singing.
Did Elvis sing?
Elvis sang, he did some pretty good singing. Listen to his singing of "Crying in the Chapel,"
Okay.
or listen to his "Love Me Tender." In his early years, because
They started to force
he
it.
started to force pretty hard.
David, what is body singing?
Body singing, that was really quite a question for me too. I'd been taking voice and performing over 20 years, and taking voice for about 10 years, when I got a call from Merrill Womack's studio, and he had 3 microphones in his studio. And I said, "What are the 3? Where's the other 2 people?" And he said, "That's just for me." "Why would you have 3 mics? I've recorded in studios many times. There's only one. So that's because I body sing. Body sing? What's that? He said, I'll demonstrate. So he went into the studio, asked his engineer to turn off the center mic, sang, and we listened. And it's not only your body actually with sound resonating out through different areas of your body, but it's also the sound of your voice, if you will, bouncing off the sides of the cave. Just like when you learn to sing pure Belle Canto, it bounces in the inside of your mouth into your 46 resonating chambers, and then if you're really learned, you loosen your shoulders, your hips, and then the leg bones start to participate, the arm bones, depending on the length of the frequency. Now, it's not going to show up in every bone every time, just like the amount of ring, ping, and buzz is going to vary percentage-wise. So does the body singing vary percentage-wise according to vowel, according to pitch. The voice actually has what's called a vocal apex. We'll talk more about that later, but I'll just leave you with this thought. Most teachers, almost all of them, teach today the voice has the same volume in the lowest part all the way to the highest part. There is no deviation in volume. That is what has ruined many a singer's voice. Not just compression, but the concept of the same volume all the way up and down. That's what happened to the lady who sang Frozen. I can't remember her name.
Idina Menzel?
Idina Menzel. She could not even sing the high notes at the Grammy Awards, I think it was, or Academy Awards. When she went to sing, her notes were gone. Well, why were they gone? Because when we first heard her, my wife and I, on the fun, beautiful movie called Frozen, we just said, that's too bad. She'll lose it within about the next 5 to 10 years. It'll be gone. And she did. Now, was she in Frozen 2? Yes. But for those of us that are trained musically, you'll hear that she sings much lower. And those of you who are trained really well auditorily will hear that her voice is quite husky.
Yeah.
She did save it from it not being able to sing at all, but unlike Adele, who lost her voice completely.
So, David, we were talking about good vocal tone and those three qualities. Is it fair to say that when you hear pure Belle Canto, you'll hear those qualities, and then also when you're singing it, you also experience
Oh, yes, you
that?
experience the qualities, but becoming aware of them takes time.
It does.
I mean, when I started to take lessons from Mr. Moore, I had been singing professionally for 5 years. So I came in and he asked me to sing. That's what I would do when someone comes in to take a lesson. Let me hear you sing a song, or if you'd like, they don't want to sing a song, I say, well, let's pretend you're auditioning for a choir. We'll do la, 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 la. Most of the time, and about 90% or more of the time, I'll hear la, 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 la. And as they go up, I see them, the neck gets tighter, the veins stick out, they're raising their head, and I say, jaw's dropping, and they're going, ah, ah. And then all of a sudden, if they try to go higher, it goes, ah, and it snaps.
It breaks. Yeah.
And it breaks. Well, the reason it breaks is because they're not singing with proper production. The throat's producing the sound very compressed, and it simply gives out.
Okay, so David, what is our homework? Let's tell everyone, when we do these videos, we want to make sure that everything hits home for you guys, and practicing by us giving you guys some homework really does help. So David, what's the homework for this lesson?
The homework would be to practice doing the yawn sigh. Luciano Pavarotti taught at Juilliard School of Music, and he introduced a system of warming the voice. I don't say warm up because it's actually kind of going up in pitch each time, but doing a sliding down like this. Make sure you've got your posture right. Now you do your breath silently, inward, downward, outward, filling all the non-bony areas. Front intercostal muscle set, that is tummy or belly. Sides between the pelvis and the ribs. Back between the pelvis and the ribs. And buttocks. Quite honestly, the whole fleshy system expands when you breathe properly, and your chest should not raise. You'll see my chest isn't raised when I take a breath. Could I do that at first? No. Homework is, you take the breath, and with a ooh, you try to sound like a little dove with an H in front of it going like this. Ooh. Now my voice is broken, so it doesn't have the clarity in certain areas. But if I go up high enough, those gears are not broken. Just primarily my main singing gear is gone. Okay, because of the ego. And that's okay, because now I can teach you with humility. Ooh. And you listen to it. And you listen, am I ringing? Do I hear a pinging? Do I feel a sensation? Do I feel a buzzing? Then you continue to raise it. Ooh, keeping your head level, speech level. And if you want to check this for sure, the Adam's apple or the epiglottis, gulp, put your finger on the bump, gulp. And then when it's laying low, don't speak, but put your finger on the ledge and pretend I'm mountain climbing, I'm at the end of my day, I'm 2,000 feet in the air on a precipice, and if I don't lock my pinions into the cliff properly when I'm asleep, well, I won't be on the earth anymore in the morning. You'll fall to your death. So keep it there. It has to stay there. And then go, ooh.
Okay, so now you guys have your homework. What David described is called yawn sigh. So we want you guys to practice that. Mental awareness, proper posture, and proper breathing. So that's what the next few videos are going to focus on. We're going to start with mental awareness, and we'll see you in that video.
Okay, bye-bye.